Kari Lake, you guys might not know this. I kind of stumbled across this information, but kind of knew it was happening a little bit. Apparently, she's still fighting her election results, and she's going to become governor still, guys. She is going to be rightfully installed governor of Arizona. And one of the parts of her original lawsuit has continued to be litigated. We talked about how her election challenge lawsuit went up to the Arizona Supreme Court, and then almost everything has been thrown out except for this one piece. They gave her one last shot to see if she could bring forward any evidence on the signature verification part of her lawsuit. She's, of course, alleging that there was no verification, I should say, going on with the signatures, and that's why there was all this fraud and hundreds of thousands of ballots and all of this. Well, she had a star witness, and the trial's going on as we speak, or wrapped up for the week recently. And she had a star witness on day 1 or 2, I think it was, who was supposed to just absolutely expose what was going on here. And the Arizona Republic has a really good article on this. You want to pull that back up? Josiah, titled, here, scroll back up to the title, "A few hours in and Kari Lake's trial is already over, or it should be." And then the article writes, just really nicely laid out here. Kari Lake on Wednesday opened her second trial challenging the 2022 election with a complete and total fizzle. Her attorney, Kurt Olson, told the judge he'd be presenting evidence that Maricopa County didn't verify the voter signatures on hundreds of thousands of early ballots, instead hiring signature reviewers who just went through the motions while the county looked on. Quote, "This isn't a question of not doing it well enough," he said. "They're simply not doing signature verification." Okay, so then you make the claim. This is the time you bring forward the evidence. Lake's star witness was great for the defense. The article continues. Jacqueline Onigite, who worked as a level 1 reviewer, spent more than an hour explaining the links to which county went to verify signatures, the week-long training of workers, the 3 levels of signature review, the admonition of to get it right. Quote, "They," meaning supervisors, "told us you need to be very cautious. You need to pay attention to what you're doing and remember that whatever you reject or approve, you can be called in to testify." She testified. As a witness for the defense, Onigite was dynamite. But of course, she was supposed to be a witness for Kari Lake's side. So Josiah, I know this is not something, just because I'm almost like a car wreck, you just can't stop. Even though you don't want to look, you look. I've been keeping up with all the challenges from Kari Lake because it's so absurd. And now she has this last chance. I don't know why the Supreme Court of Arizona even went through all of this and is allowing her to continue litigating this, maybe just to make sure, even though it won't convince them, that MAGA sees, look, she's having her day in court over and over and over, and this is her last moment. Her star witness says, yeah, no, we definitely verified signatures.
I don't even know what to say. That is one of the most legitimately funny political news stories. Like, you can even tell that the writers themselves, this is supposed to be, I assume, just probably a standard local, publication. And even they can't help but find it hilarious because it's like, what legal mastermind did they not do any witness prep? You're not supposed to falsify witness testimony when you call a witness, but you should probably know what the witness that you call is going to say. And if you're defending Kari Lake, or if you're making the case on behalf of Kari Lake, you might want what the witness has to say to support Kari Lake's case. And if that witness doesn't, then you might not want to call him to the stand. So I'm just imagining, to fly on the wall in a courtroom, the witness starts to talk and you can imagine Kari Lake's own attorneys, "Objection, Your Honor." And you can't object. It's your own witness. What are you talking about? But
they're breaking the rules. They're not saying what.
Yeah, this shouldn't count. And then what are you doing? And it would be one of those things where I don't know if there's any footage, because some court cases, as you well know, they are videotaped, they're documented. But wouldn't it be hilarious if it was almost like an Office skit, like that zoom in on everybody in the room, like the bailiff, the judge, where they're just like, what? I don't know what to make of this. It's hard to even offer substantive commentary about this, because what a joke. What a joke this entire thing is.
Every time, especially when it's this hilarious. I think what is being said on the other side to this. And I saw that Kari Lake, of course, was saying, see, we're proving it all. And one of the parts that was highlighted even in one of these local bits of reporting was one guy who was verifying signatures way quicker than you actually could to get a sense of if the signatures are good. And he was taken off of verification. Oh, great. So it looks like you'll have a really good process in place to make sure if someone's not doing the job correctly, they get taken off so that the signatures are indeed verified. And that's what all of this that we've gone through with Trump's 2020 election lies, Kari Lake's 2022 election lies, all of it, it has shown me that our election system is actually more secure than even I thought it was, because they have done everything, investigation after investigation, audit after audit, recount after recount. The cyber ninjas did their little thing, and we've seen groups do recounts or audits of some kind and realize that Biden won in that state more than they previously thought sometimes. And all of these court cases, I would have thought, just because of the sheer mass of people that vote in every election, you would be able to find some examples of some pretty fishy stuff, even if it doesn't mean there was a conspiracy. I thought maybe you could find something, and they can find nothing. And it's actually making me feel good. All right, we got some pretty good election systems.
I'm just again, it's so hard to, obviously this is politically relevant. Obviously this is topical because Kari Lake, whether we like it or not, she is a prominent member of the Republican Party, perhaps not, in terms of official power, because even though she assures us she's the governor of Arizona, the rest of Arizona hasn't caught on yet. They're not aware of that fact. But in terms of her prominence, in terms of, again, her cultural star power, she's very popular within the right-wing movement, which is an indictment in and of itself. But it's so hard to take this seriously because, again, the way my mind works, as much of a pop culture geek as I am, I'm just imagining the next great HBO Max Veep style comedy.
Totally.
And I've got it. It's called The Lake House. And what it is, it's Kari Lake's defense team. It's just her roster of attorneys, and it follows each season is a new court case. And it's just this slapstick comedy where it's the sound effects at the end, like Curb Your Enthusiasm, where they're just oh, well, we called the wrong witness, or we called the correct witness, but we didn't do any research. And then the credits end with them just kind of cringing like this. This is such an indictment of, again, that particular wing of the GOP. And the sad thing is, I would be willing to bet if you looked on Twitter or on Rumble or on Truth Central or other places about this story, you would find thousands of actual people who are nailed it. Perry Mason, Matlock, whoever Kari Lake hired for her legal team right here, the top legal geniuses of our day. And that's sad.
Really sad. And going within what you're talking about with the kind of Veep style show, I can totally picture, then she's about to give a speech and there's a scene and she's like, I need something, give me something, swearing at her at her legal team. And I remember this one moment that was so embarrassing when she was pushing these lies, where you picture okay, here's something. They just give her some story to tell, and she told an actual story where it's supposed to be this horrible example of fraud, and she goes, we got one example of a guy, he may have been an affidavit or something, a guy who he showed up to the polling place after 7, which I think is whatever the time was that she gave was after the polling place had closed. He showed up and they wouldn't let him vote. And so he started making a ruckus. They wouldn't let him vote. I mean, what's going on here in Arizona? And I'm like, wait, can you go back? You're saying he showed up after, not he got in line before and then the time passed. He showed up after. Yeah. That's the example. What?
Yeah.
But they wouldn't let him vote because he was Republican.
Right. Not because he missed the deadline. Not that couldn't possibly be it. In fact, what are deadlines if not, hippie liberal devices from the deep state to suppress Republican voter turnout or whatever? There's probably some conservative or some MAGA cultist watching this right now and going, you know what, that actually kind of makes sense. What are deadlines? So we probably ought to stop giving them. Yeah, we probably ought to stop feeding them.
You're brutal sometimes, Josiah.
I can't help it. I mean, you started it by bringing up this story. This is just, that is, I don't even know what to say to this.
Thank you so much for watching this video. For the outro, I want to quickly plug Josiah's channel. Hit them with it, Josiah.
All right, folks, you can find me at youtube.com/@ponderingpolitics, one word. If you like progressive politics, if you like the Republican Party being called out, and if you like collaborations with Luke Beasley, hit me up there.